Is it a UFO or an IFO? Is it made by extraterrestrials or is it made by human beings?
In the result of the investigations, the project aerodynamic characteristics of the airkeeper vehicles were defined for takeoff landing regimes of the movements on an air cushion. The project aerodynamic characteristics of the airkeeper vehicle indicate its high aerodynamic quality, static and dynamic stability, and good maneuverability. The flight tests of the large-scale model are to be continued in order to work out the air cushion system for the landing and takeoff on any kind of airfield, including water.
Flying saucers. Are they flights of fancy or flights of the future? We uncover the Russian project to send us all into the skies in these alien aircraft.
Yeah, that was 2002. Here we are 22 years later. I think it's, again, fair to come to the conclusion that more than likely at least a small fleet of these were created and used. They wanted to use them for various purposes, including firefighting, where this new type of flying vessel could take turns, unlike a flying bird, which pretty much jets and airplanes are. I mean, this thing's pretty much like a flying Batmobile. Speaking of batshit crazy, I mean, this stuff is pretty interesting and crazy, and and Chris Bardou's own words, batshit crazy.
Well, you have to think the Type 1 helicopters are the largest and fastest flying and the most expensive helicopters used on wildland fires. And they can carry typically, what it says here on Google, is about 700 gallons of water or a retardant via a bucket or a snorkel that fills an entire tank. And these things, if you don't know what I'm talking about, they look like Chinook helicopters. They have to account for the weight of that thing. So let's see here. A gallon of water. Let's see, for volume, it's around 5,830.216 pounds. It's about as much as it weighs about as much as a Chevy Silverado.
Or Yokozuna.
Yeah. But that's a lot of weight for them to be able to suck up. And I know a few girls down here in the South that can handle that kind of shit. But I don't know if... I mean, trial and error. When it comes to developing this type of aircraft, you're going to have trial and error when it comes to everything, whatever you're trying to build or develop. You're going to have, ask Elon Musk, just watch the videos of his aircraft exploding, which I don't know if you ever saw SpaceX take off and it explode. There is a Tic Tac that flies right above that. And it's so fast. Everyone's, it's a bird. A bird does not fly that fast. That damn SpaceX was blown up by a UFO. Okay? I watched a live video of that shit. And it's a Tic Tac that just comes straight across and boom. And as soon as it comes over the tip, it explodes. So I don't know. But I know they would have to account for water weight. They would have to account for the pilot's weight, the water weight, whatever type of fuel they're using. So
yeah, there's a guy I did a podcast with this guy. He hasn't been able to build this thing, but he has an invention. He received the patent for his flying saucer. He's out of Paducah, Kentucky, right across the river from where I grew up. Herbert Martin. Yeah, his gyroscopically stabilized vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. If he was to build it, would be powered by another one of his inventions, these solar spheres that actually like magnifying glasses, or how like droplets of water magnify the sunlight. He would have these placed around the perimeter of his flying saucer to absorb sunlight. It's another one of his inventions. And you can go up above the clouds, chill, grow your own plants, and then dip down into the clouds, harvest a little bit of water. There's a part of it it's scientific stuff that he was able to explain that I don't understand yet. But dip down to the clouds, grab a little bit of water, and this is just solar and water powered. And his grand design, if he was to build one, it would actually be clear. So you could grow your plants. You could just be chilling above the clouds, just like you're in your living room.
I mean, understanding UFOs and building them would forever alter our understanding of ourselves and our universe. It would completely, if these things are real, it would put a wrench in everything that we have currently built. We wouldn't have a need for the F-16s or for the Harrier jets or even for, I still think there would be a need for the converted planes and stuff, but I don't think that we'd have a need for a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, transportation would be completely turned inside out.
Airplanes would be, if we figure out how to haul 190 people, but like I said, weight versus the mass of everything. So if you have 190 people and you got like 6 people on the airplane they got to buy 2 tickets because they had goddamn freaking IHOP pancakes for freaking 15 years of their life, 12 days out of the week. I mean, it's going to be a little hard to get old Mama Bear down the runway. If you know what I'm saying. So you got to account for the weight of these things. But I do think, where do you think we're going like in 1,000 years from now? If we haven't been hit by an asteroid, if we haven't had a nuclear war, where do you see our transportation methods heading?
I think certain people will definitely always like the birds, the flying birds, also known as jets and airplanes. Though, I think
you kind of glitched
the
out
use
there for
of
a second. It glitched a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
You said some people would
Okay,
always
sorry.
like you said some people would always like the flying birds.
I think there will always be someone who likes the birds, the flying birds. That just kind of keeps it old school, and that, I think that's kind of cool because I mean they're really an architectural feat, an engineering feat. These jets that human beings use on Earth, they're interesting, but also I mean there's a more simple design. And it's just circular. And I think that is the future of aviation. I think it's the future of space travel. It's just how do we get society to catch on to it and stop being scared of flying vessels that they're unfamiliar with. And I think it's exciting. Though, I mean, like if I looked out my window and I seen a fleet of flying saucers coming, I would be concerned. But if it was local, it wouldn't really bother me. But if it was like if we were seeing a new like Pearl Harbor, then I would be a little concerned.
Yeah,
the whole Pearl Harbor scenario. Is kind of one, of course, it's one for the history books because it is.
Well, but a lot of people's brains would automatically go to Project Bluebeam as soon as they saw UFOs. A lot of the population, let's say 5% of the population, believes in Project Bluebeam. 10% of it has heard it, but doesn't believe it. 15,
I believe it exists.
There's another 10% there that are like, whatever, UFOs or aliens, whatever. Now, as soon as they see a fleet of UFOs coming over the horizon, everybody's going to be on the same page. Man, we will have cults that are forming. I mean, they will be like, they're going to take me to your leader kind of shit.
Yeah, then you'd have the Raelians.
I love the Raelians. Those are my people.
God, I can't.
Those are my people.
I can't stand.
You don't like them?
You'd have Claude Verhoeven. No.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't
Daddy.
I don't agree. I don't agree with I don't agree with human cloning.
Well, no, you're a Christian. I get it. I understand where you're coming from on this, but
he's actually I believe he's the Christ of Freemasonry, and in my opinion, he is the Antichrist. I think the Raelians would be very happy. Most of them would not know what was going on, but typically, I mean, come on. I mean, most things that occur are planned. We would just have to collect as much intel as possible and understand the source of these vessels. And until we understand the source, or where these vessels are coming from, then we can choose to be concerned or inspired by the awesomeness that in my opinion, the awesomeness that these aircrafts could do for Earth. And
if they're used in the correct manner, if they're being used to help humanity. Now, I mean, two things here. One, when these cults develop, I'm going to become a thespian. I'm going to grow dreadlocks, and I'm just going to hang out and just like post my TikToks and show everybody how groovy I am and just hang out with the fucking aliens. Or they're going to be nuclear. They're going to be nuclearized. Nuclearized. They're going to be nuclear capability. I am fucking stupid. Don't trust me. Okay, so do you think that they could? I mean, they're going to have weapons on them, so nuclear capabilities. That's a giant,
I think they would use
that's a very big concern.
Yeah, I think with these vessels, I think nuclear weapons would, from all we've learned on Earth so far, I'd have to say nuclear weapons to those who are intelligent and operating these vessels would say no to nuclear weapons. Wow. I think the weapon of choice would be phased arrays or particle beams and or lasers. We wouldn't use projectile rounds in long distance battles if we ever had to use them.
But the threat is very real. So we have to kind of take a step back and go, okay, well, wouldn't it be good? Let's say, well, I wouldn't say good, but if Russia or China or whatever the case may be decided to go online with their nukes, we're going to get notification of that immediately. And I think we have, probably about 5 to 15 minutes to respond to knock these nukes out of the sky versus using some sort of reversed alien technology to travel from the United States to Russia within a matter of 30 seconds and neutralize the threat immediately and not even have to push a button or even worry about where it's coming from.
Yeah, the possibility of traveling at very high speeds, I think, is within the realm of possibility. Here's the thing about getting from one point on the planet to another, or from one point in space to another point in space, is really, if you had the vessel that's capable of traveling at warp speed, tens of thousands of miles per hour, hundreds of thousands of miles per hour, you got that down. All you need is some kind of, it wouldn't be an extra, potentially, in another sense, an extraterrestrial GPS where that detects all objects that may be in your way. To get to that point, it's from point A to point B. Are there any objects in your way when you're traveling at 500,000 miles per hour? And then the risk that you take traveling from point A to point B, going half of 1 million miles per hour, is quite high. But it's not out of the realm of possibility. We just have to understand if there are objects that may cause a collision. That's it.
I would think that they would have to go vertically from the United States straight up into space and then travel straight over and drop straight down. Instead of just going, it would probably be faster to do that than it would be to go from point A to point B. See, when you're dealing with things that move this fast, you're not dealing with. I don't know if you're actually dealing with, you know, how they say it's faster to go from point in a straight line as the fastest point from point A to point B. And maybe it's faster for them to warp time and reality and go straight up into the space, up into outer space, and then come straight over and drop down into Russia or China. I think that does make a lot of sense. And you know what? We both sound like different species of aliens right now, talking about our different ways of traveling. I honestly believe that what we're seeing in the skies, and I always tell people at the end of my podcast, keep looking to the skies, and that's because you never know what you're going to be able to see. I have seen these things. I have seen things that are unexplained, and I think I'm about 75% on board with this, is that I believe the UFOs that we're seeing are us from the future. We have figured out how to go in and out of dimensions. And we're talking, you know, if not now, if we don't have that capability now, then we're talking, you know, for 8,000 years into the future. That's, of course, unless, you know, we don't get hit by an asteroid or Yellowstone doesn't pop off. Or maybe Yellowstone pops off, we get hit by an asteroid, and the planet is inhabited by another species. And now that species has taken over the planet, and they've regrouped, and they've put new writings on the pyramid walls, and now they're visiting us in the past to try to figure out, to try to learn from their past. It's just like we're trying to learn from ours.
Yeah.
That's some deep shit.
Well, time travel is interesting. I'm not sure about that.
Well, it wouldn't be time traveling. It would just be warping from one dimension, just pop, real quick, just doop, and you're right there. And we're seeing all this, you know, you see the paintings from a long time ago in the Renaissance era and stuff, and where they have, you know, sightings in the skies, and they've written, you know, it's written on the walls of the Mayan temples and stuff. You know, it shows, you know, it shows people using all kinds of different aircrafts and stuff. And so I think, and this is coming from somebody who's really not that intelligent about the topic, but maybe that's the new civilization that inhabited Earth after our own destruction, going back in time or warping through a dimension and visiting things and visiting different eras to figure out what happened. And we're just now seeing it because they've written it on their walls, so now we're seeing it. It's kind of like, what is that movie with Will Ferrell? Where he goes back to the dinosaur age. What is, you know what I'm talking about?
I know you're talking about.
He loses his cell phone, and then we find the cell phone, and it proves his whole theory. But yeah, it's kind of like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I forgot the name of that movie. Man, I've only seen it once. That was like 15 years ago. But yeah. I just want to kind of give our audience an introduction to the possibility of human beings creating flying saucers, though.
Land of the Lost.
Yeah, Land
of the Lost. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You take the reins on this bad boy, because I'm just a Southern country boy. I don't know a whole lot about UFOs and them green fuckers that hang out in our atmosphere, you know. But I'm going to tell you right now, I believe in them. I mean, it's impossible to say that we're the only ones out there in our universe. When we're here on a dirt, we're here on a dirt ball with water, and we're sitting here talking about it on a podcast while I'm using an iPhone.
Yeah. I mean, I'm positive we're not alone. And though, when we see these unidentified flying objects, what I want to propose or introduce to the society is a possibility that maybe they're not all coming from aliens, and kind of redefine what extraterrestrial means. And anyways, I got to head off of here for now.
Absolutely, man.
Though
It was so cool to have you on.
Yeah, it was. There's so much information, and actually being able to retain it all and like being able to speak on it, it takes a little while to actually absorb and process.
And a lot of the documents that I look at, the ones that you sent me, are just freaking awe-inspiring. Like just to see, you know, how they build these things and put them together. And I'm going to put the link in the description for sure. This is going to be this. If you're hearing this right now, this is the end of it. This is part 2. There's going to be a part 1 and a part 2. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have you back on here to talk more about this. This is so cool. UFOs, honestly, are probably like the best topic because, man, who doesn't want to fucking see a UFO? Who doesn't want? I don't know if it would be a good idea. I just don't know. Would it be a good idea to see a UFO? Would it be like, would that be something that you would be excited to see? Would you be like, oh, look at that. That's neat.
I would be very unidentified. There, you know, emotion. I would be very excited, and hopefully, I'm not up cleaning a gutter on a ladder when I see a UFO. Hopefully, I mean, if I ever get a chance to see an actual flying saucer, I'd rather see a human-made one than actually see and witness how it's made, and then be able to come back home and think about what I seen.
And we've got to go over Roswell. We've got to talk about Betty and Barney Hill. We're going to talk about Project Bluebeam. We're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about how wet these aliens get. Oh, how wet does an alien get? If you could bang an alien, would you? If you weren't married and an alien came down, she had 3 tits like a Total Recall, would you be like? And she was like, "Hello, Bobby. This is what I want to do. Look down here.
Excuse my language.
Oh, they call me Block. What I want you to do is get down here. I want you to check some stuff out. Look at this." And she shows you.
No, let me say this.
She has like 7 vaginas.
God. Oh yeah, because I drink 7 bottles of water. I drink 7 bottles of water a day, and 1 can go in each badge.
He goes, "Oh, you're a moist human." And so
that's so gross. No way, man.
You wouldn't sleep with an alien?
Listen, if she's making squishy sounds when she's walking, I know that's too much.
She's got suction cups for feet. Hi, Bobby. Come over here. I don't know if
those are different. Those are different sounds than what I was talking about.
I would.
Like when she's making.
I'd do it.
That's so gross. No way, man. Like, you've seen Species, right? Species. You're older than me.
Yeah.
You've seen Species growing up.
Yeah.
The iPhone.
Oh yeah. Well, is that the one with the lady? Is that the one with the lady in the barn that's got the spiders in her?
She's an alien. She's like a reptilian or something. And she seduces human men, and then like she produces these hybrid offsprings or some shit like that.
What if an alien came down here and was like, "Bobby, I need your seed because you are going to be the one that populates an entire planet of people because the human race is run and time for your planet is done. So I want you to have hardcore sex with me, and then I'm going to take you to planet Verstar, and you are going to be the leader of the new population of an entire planet. Would you do it?
I thought that's what marriage was. Besides that, oh no.
It is. It is. I would be like, I'm sorry, but I'm going to need more than 10 minutes to get ready. Yeah.
I got a little bit going on in my crevices.
Yeah. Are you aware that I have herpetocephalitis? I got herpes. I got a plantar wart, so I got HPV. Are you down with that there, glip glop? Glip glop. Where'd I hear the term glip glop from? Is that from Rick and Morty? That's from Rick and Morty. Glip glop.
I don't know. Dude, you got the monkey virus on your gooch? Is that what you were saying?
I got HPV on my foot. 90% of the world population has herpes. Everybody has it. So, like, if you've ever got, like, Hep A from working at a restaurant, it's treatable. But, like, when I was on the Appalachian Trail, yes, listeners, I have herpes. Well, I have a type of herpes. It's I was at the NOC, the Natahala Observation Center, and she weighed about 400 pounds. No, I had to take a shower because I'd been hiking for 2 weeks straight without a bath. So I was in a hurry, and one of my flip-flops broke. And I stood in the shower. I rinsed off real quick. I got in the shower, got out. Well, that next following year, I got a wart on the bottom of my foot. And that's what that is. That's all it is HPV is a wart. So 90% of the world has it. Even more than that, probably like 97. It would not surprise me if you, Bobby, had HPV.
I don't know, man.
But it's normal. It's normal. It is. If you've ever washed dishes at a restaurant and you got your hands in the soap and water, and it's actually called the food service workers disease, and it's called Hep A.
Really? Why don't they make an acronym out of that then? Why don't they just make the acronym out of that?
They call it FSD. No, food service workers, FSWD. No, it's Hep A, and it's totally normal.
And there's probably a union for that, too.
Dude, I had a bunch of silverware in a sink that had a little bit of bleach in it, and it had soap in it, and I threw all the silverware down in there, and I grabbed it, and I got stabbed in the finger by a fork. So, I mean, even in bleach water, sometimes it doesn't kill it right away, whatever. And they said you have Hep A. And it's from working at a restaurant for 4 years, doing dishes, washing silverware for years and years on end. You're going to get it at some point. And it's just like, you don't even know you have it. And let's say you have a cold. Let's say like a year or 2 years later or 4 years later, you have a cold and they give you an antibiotic. That kills it. And you don't even know you have it. Like you'll get it, and you'll get an antibiotic for something, and it kills it, and you'll never even know you had it. So it's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. HPV herpes it's not that big of a deal.
Oh man. That's not. How do we get off onto that?
I think all aliens have herpes.
Probably something incurable.
I mean, and that's another thing. I mean, if there
that's why, dude. I'll stick to my wife. I'll stick to her.
Yeah.
I like being a terrestrial, and I like sticking to my wife. I like these simple concoctions. I like dihydrooxygen, also known as water or H2O. I think it's very interesting. It actually has more memory than supercomputers. Pretty interesting liquid. I like being terrestrial on Earth. I'm not gonna. There's no way. I mean, like if I had. No.
We're just BSing here at the end of this podcast.
I'll make this one part 2 for me too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Real quick, before I let you go, I want to let the listeners know, if you like conspiracy theories, if you like real news, and you want to listen to a true investigative journalist, go to a Call to Actions podcast and listen to Kimberly and Bobby Vaughn. These guys are awesome. Bro, I love you so much. If you are a listener and you have questions concerns, you want to, if you're an artist and you have an MP3 you'd like to play, you want me to play your music, I will. Send it over to secretcircuspod@gmail.com. That is secretcircuspod@gmail.com. We're found on Twitter @SecretCircusPod. We're found at iHeartRadio, Spotify, and anywhere you find your podcasts.
Spotify censors, though. Spotify censors, man. They don't upload all the episodes. They don't upload. They pinpick, man. They don't upload all of our episodes. iHeartRadio is pretty good.
Who's your
Apple
hosting
Podcasts?
site?
Podbean, still sticking with Podbean.
Buzzsprout.com for a mere maybe a little under $20 a month would cure that immediately. All of your audio would be uploaded to about 21 different platforms within 5 minutes of hitting accept. I am a huge advocate for Podbean. And I'm also a huge advocate for Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout is our hosting site here, and they do an exceptional job at what they do. 100% across the board. You will not lose audio. Matter of fact, they have magic mastering to where if there's any pops or pings, they will automatically take all that stuff out for you. That bird in the background, they'll take it out completely. You don't have to do anything. I'm dead serious. They will take it out, and it's amazing. And I'm not sponsored by Buzzsprout, but I will tell you this. They are on their shit. They know what they're doing. And you can monetize. So for $3 a month, we will give you a shout out. And when we get merch available, I will send you a t-shirt, a mug. I will send you something strange in the mail. Secret Circus Podcast, of course, it revolves around that. So I will send you like some cool shit. For $8 a month, not only give you a shout out, not only will I give you a shout out, but you can email me your topic. I will research it and bring you on. Like I said, if you're an artist, send me an MP3. I would love to listen to your music, and I will play it live. I'll play the entire song. Alabama, I love you guys. You guys are excellent artists. You guys have a lot of great musicians. So please send in your audio. I would love to hear it. Bobby, it was a true pleasure having you on this podcast today. You're freaking an amazing human being, and you really are. You know what you're talking about for sure.
I appreciate it. Anything I talk about, I try to back up with documents. If there is anything that is my own theory or my own opinion, I will let you know that it's in my opinion, or continuing an investigation. We may theorize every once in a while, but I'll let you know if it's a theory. But continuing these investigations as we're still young, it's going to be awesome working with you going into the future. And I appreciate you having me on. And this we're going to post both of these on we're going to post this on both the call to actions and your platform, Secret Circus.
Well, brother, I love you to death, man. And it's great to have you part of this podcast. You truly are a patriot, and you know your shit. You really do.
Much appreciated. Yeah, I appreciate your input. Yes, you have a very nice, you have a dynamic personality that's really, really rare to come by. And it's always an honor to talk to you.
I have mental problems.
Well, don't we all these days, right?
That's right. I think you have to be able to get by nowadays. But I'll let you hang on the phone here while I play this outro. Listeners, thank you again so much for listening. I love you all. Stay blessed. And as always, keep looking to the skies.